of the ANC is the rolling out of ARVs.
Well, are you asking me or are you telling me? Or
I'm asking you, would you agree with something like that?
Well, indeed, you are aware that we had a massive program to roll out ARVs in 2009, since 2009. Precisely, I can say the announcement was made on World AIDS Day in 2009, which was regarded as a turning point to South Africa's approach to the pandemic of HIV and AIDS. And we launched a massive 8-city campaign, HIV counseling and testing, in 2010 in April, from where 18 million people were tested and we put them on treatment.
We also saw the president himself taking an HIV test publicly.
Oh yes, indeed, we said all the leaders. He was not the only one, if you remember. We encourage all the leaders. Remember when you launched the campaign, we had the president, we had the UNAIDS, United Nations Under Secretary, who is the executive director of UNAIDS, Mr. Michel Sidibe, coming all the way from Geneva to join us. We had the then Secretary General of COSATU, Mr. Zwelinzima Mavavi. We had the then Premier of Gauteng, Nomvula Mkonyana, at the launch in Natal Spirit Hospital, and we had many other leaders who then followed up and tested, because we wanted the public to know that HIV can affect everybody. It doesn't matter whether you are a president or whether you are a high politician or a business person, anybody could be affected, and we think that worked out.
And quite importantly, heading out of the ANC's elective conference is this resolution around legalizing sex work, and how that then plays on into ensuring that this issue around HIV/AIDS is also being dealt with.
Well, the matter has been discussed a lot in SANAC, South African National AIDS Council. Suffice to say, it will go back there in SANAC for discussion, because we've been discussing it, if I'm not mistaken, for the past 5 years. But remember that Madiba himself asked the Law Reform Commission to look into the matter, and they've done so for a period of 14 years.
What has been the difficulty? Why has it taken so long?
Well, the Law Reform Commission gets into very deep processes to investigate a change of a law or promulgation of a particular law. They don't take shortcuts. Remember, the issue of HIV/AIDS is a broader societal issue. It affects almost everybody in society. That's why it had to take that long.
Just in closing, of course, it's the ANC's anniversary, 106 years of the ANC, and celebrating the oldest liberation movement on the continent. What does this mean for you, being part of such an organization?
Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting because there's no other movement on the whole continent which has been alive for 106 years, but ANC is such a movement. And to belong to such a movement is a matter of pride, and we are excited because if you remember when we went to the Nasser conference, some were saying that's going to be the gravesite of ANC, that the ANC will be no more. Here we are today celebrating our 106th anniversary, and we have got all the belief, and we have got all the belief that we are still going to celebrate more anniversaries to come, maybe 100 more years or even more.
Will you be around?
Of course. I won't be around, but those who will be around that time will be looking back and say, hey, 106 years ago, there was a question asked whether ANC will still be around in 100 years. And here we are, 100 years later, it's still there. Those who will be there at that time will make that statement.
Well, if that moment is to happen, the SABC will still be around. And this particular tape, we'll put it aside and ensure that we write on it that on this particular date, this is what Motsoaledi said. He said 100 more years for the ANC, and that archive material will be available to those who will follow many years from now. Thank you so much from the Minister of Health there, Motsoaledi, speaking about the ANC and where the ANC finds itself, but also some of the policies that have been taken around the issue around HIV/AIDS, and quite importantly, that policy out of the ANC's elective conference that sex work must be legalized. It's back to you in studio.